Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. My name is Howard Pinsky, Senior XD Evangelist here at Adobe. Super excited to be back this morning, and a big thank you to Laura and Christine, or Lauren? That's embarrassing. Great stream, by the way. Laura, or Lauren, is an amazing artist. I was hooked until I had to go to a meeting, but great stuff. And definitely, if you missed that, go back and watch it and then stick around for tomorrow and Thursday. They'll both be back. And after me, we've got some more UI and UX goodness coming right up. So big good morning to everyone who's joining us live on Behance this morning. If you are tuning in live, let me know who you are, where you're from, maybe if you've even used Adobe XD before or have never used it before. Lauren, thank you for correcting me, John. But a big good morning to Gary and Diego and Lula and Anthony and Nadia and Gregory and Natasha and everyone else joining me and everyone else correcting me about Lauren's name. Laura, wait. Now you're all confusing me. Justin says Laura, and John says Lauren. You know what? I'm gonna find out right now. I'm gonna go to the live page, and I'm gonna find this out. It is Lauren. Lauren, we solved it. Alrighty, so what do we have planned for today? Let me hop over to my screen. Here we go. The landing page is behance.net/daily creative challenge. This is where you're going to find out all the information that you need to get started on the challenge. And this is week number 2. We're almost at Friday. We're almost at the end of this thing. But if you want to go back, you can always jump back into Monday and take a look at some of this stuff. So if you haven't pressed that big blue register button at the top, press it so that you get notified every single morning at, it's down here, 8 o'clock in the morning. We release new challenges, and then you're going to join me at 11:30 in the morning, or Pacific time. It could be afternoon, could be midnight for some of you, to sharpen up your skills and maybe learn something new. And then you're going to share your work on Behance using the keyword XD Daily Challenge. And Gregory said he's never used XD. You're going to be impressed. Hopefully, if I do a good job, you're going to be impressed. If you're into UI and UX, you're definitely going to want to check it out. You can also go to letsxd.com, and I've got a bunch of great videos on here for beginners, people who are looking to import content from Creative Cloud or Photoshop or Illustrator, and then some of the tools. Then if you want to start designing some interactions, and I'm in the process of getting ready for the big May update, which is coming soon. In May sometime. Andrew Shorten's been tweeting about it. He's been sneaking some things. The latest sneak is we have keyboard and gamepad triggers, so you'll be able to use your keyboard and your game controllers, Xbox, PS4, whatever it might be, to actually trigger animations and things like that using XD. And he's also teasing a sneak he's going to be releasing today. We're going to be removing a feature, but we're replacing it with something else. What could that possibly be? He's also confirmed that we've got, what else do we have here? We have text transformations, uppercase, lowercase, title case, that sort of thing, strike-throughs. We've got a polygon tool coming. We've got guides. We've got a lot of stuff coming just in the May update. So definitely follow Andrew for more sneaks. And May is just around the corner. I've already been working on videos. It's going to be fun. All right, so today's challenge, if we scroll down here, we're creating a calculator. It's not very exciting, not very sexy, but we're gonna have fun with it. We're gonna do something interesting with this calculator, and I kind of like these challenges because it kind of pushes you to do something different. Obviously, calculators are not very fun; they're kind of boring, but I want to see all of your amazing work and the weird and exciting ways you take it. So before we do that, I'm gonna hop over here. I'm gonna take a look at about 3 different entries that came in yesterday. And this one is from Zoe, and yesterday was to create a leaderboard experience using Adobe XD. And Zoe, he or she, I can't tell, he or she, put together this IMDb top 250 leaderboard experience. Looks really nice, and there is a video. So let's go ahead and play this video, and you can kind of see how a user would go through. And Zoe has also combined the drop-down experience from a few days ago. There we go. So XD is going into designing OSs. I mean, you could probably design an OS with Adobe XD, especially with shortcut keys and things like that, which will be possible with keyboard triggers. So I thought that was super cool that Zoe combined some of the other challenges with the leaderboard experience. I thought that was great. Next one we have is Venkat, and he put together this leaderboard experience. The video is down here. It's a little bit long, so I'm going to kind of jump through it. It's a running leaderboard experience. And I believe he used that plugin, the Undraw plugin that was just recently released. And he's showing how you can cycle through today, yesterday, and the current date, or April 21st. And if I move a little bit over here, because this kind of goes back and forth, he also shows what it looks like when you expand one of the individual cards, which was a nice little touch. And then finally, we've got this one, I think. Where did it go? It disappeared on me. I promise it was there, and it was pretty cool if I remember correctly. Let me refresh the page. See, I see it there, but it's just not cooperating. Let's try again. Maybe not. Maybe we'll come back to it. We'll see what happens. All right. Yeah, Natasha, oh, here it goes. This was a Behance experience designed using Adobe XD by Max. And I really love all the animations. The only thing I would probably say is that the animations sometimes are a little bit slow, but let's go through it. So you can go through the different tabs for you. Oh, there's me. And then you go to challenges, and then you've got your challenges here. You can view the leaderboard, and you'll be able to see in a second an awesome leaderboard show up. There it is. You can sort by views, you can sort by appreciations. I thought that was really cool. Great animations, maybe speed them up just a little bit, but Max, great job. There's Max. It takes oh, I see. So there's a 5-second delay at the beginning. Got it. Yeah, speed up those animations just a little bit, but otherwise, I really love the flow of this application. I think the animations are wonderful, but speed them up. Yeah, so you got game console. You'll be able to use your Xbox and PS4 controllers, maybe even the adaptive controller to, wire up your prototypes. And a lot of we have this in the hands of some game developers already. We'll have more about that soon. So today, let's hop over to Adobe XD. Before we get too caught up in things, we're going to be designing a calculator. Again, not super exciting, but we're gonna make do. Let me actually hop over here. Let me move some of this stuff around. Let me get my backgrounds. Perfect. There we go. All right. So what we're going to be doing, and Gregory says, is it possible to mix tools with After Effects? So you can actually take your XD files, export them to After Effects if you do need a lot more control over your animation, or something that's not possible, like particle effects and things like that. So you can export. All right, and can you import? Yes, you can. You can import from Photoshop, Illustrator, and Sketch as well. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this. Again, we're making a calculator using Adobe XD. We're gonna be using repeat grids. We're gonna animate if we have time. We're gonna have a good time with this one. And here's some inspiration. So we're gonna create kind of like a gratuity application, and we're gonna go a little bit crazy with this one. We're gonna make it look as nice as a calculator can possibly look in about 25 minutes. So I'm gonna grab my artboard tool over here to the left, and I'm going to choose, let's go for the iPhone 6, 7, 8 Plus artboard again, just like yesterday. We're gonna zoom in here, and we're gonna start designing. So there's a few things that we want on this artboard, and just to get started, I'm actually just gonna grab this title bar, hop over here, paste it, just so we have something up there so it doesn't look too boring. Make it nice and big. And in the middle, we'll just name this, let's say split. We'll do all caps. And soon there'll be a button to do all caps. But right now, we gotta hold down the caps lock. All right, we're gonna name that split that bill, and we're worried about the colors and stuff a little bit later. Now there's gonna be a few sections. Up here is gonna have the information about the actual bill, and then down here is going to be the buttons. We're going to start with the buttons. So I'm going to grab my rectangle tool right about here. You know what? Let me make the background a little bit darker, somewhere right about there, just for now, just so I can see the buttons as I'm dragging them out. And I'm going to grab my rectangle and just draw one out across the entire artboard, just like this. I'll make them nice and long. Now, obviously a button isn't this long, right? So what I want them evenly spaced so I can use a repeat grid. And at first, I'm gonna have about 3 going across and about 4 going down. So to do that, what I'm going to do, one day I'll do an Android artboard just for fun. But I'm just so used to iPhone. So with the button across the entire artboard, over here to the right, I know I want 3 going across, I want 3 going across, so I'm going to just do 414, which is the width of the artboard, and then divide by 3. Boop, there we go. And that will give me one button that will be repeatable very easily, 3 times perfectly across my artboard. And we'll get into the repeat grid in a second. Now, in the middle, I want some text, so I'm going to just grab this, put, let's say, number 7, make it a little bit larger, And I probably don't want it blue. We will go for a grayish color. And maybe not bold. We'll go for regular, possibly. Regular looks okay. All right, we'll stick with that for now. Now, we have both elements created. We need to actually create the repeat grid. So I'm gonna just drag a selection around both of these elements. I can also select them in my layers panel, and then press the repeat grid button at the top right here. Boop, there we go. And we've got 2 new handles. If you're brand new to Adobe XD, this is how you create the repeat grid. You've got 2 handles, one on the right, one at the bottom, and I can simply just pull out additional cards, just like this across my document. So I've got 3 going to the right, and then we'll have 4 down as well. Now, obviously, they're kind of extending across and off my artboard, so I can just hover in between and just pull this in until we're at 0, just like that. Pull that up, 0, and I can pull my whole, whatever this thing is called, the calculator thing, and then you can do that. So now I'm gonna just go through, you could use a text file, but I'm just gonna go through the manual way and just go 9, 4, calculators are kind of strange, but you know, that's the way they are. 1, 2, 3, and then maybe down here we'll do a little period. We will do a 0, and then this will be the delete. And we will have to make this a bit smaller later, but at this point, we probably want to ungroup this repeat grid. Now that we've gone through and you made the grid, we have to make a few overrides, which you can't do just yet. We also want to eventually animate this thing, and I'm going to show you how that's done in a second. But I'm going to right click and ungroup the grid, just like that. And now I can go in, and maybe this one definitely needs to be smaller a little bit. So I'll make that nice and small for delete. Move that up a little bit so it lines up perfectly. All right, now for this calculator, by default, I want because it's a gratuity calculator and you're not necessarily, there's gonna be a split button, so you don't really need the division, the addition, that sort of thing. They're gonna be hidden by default. So we're gonna have a little bit of a sidebar here that's gonna slide out from the side, right? So I'm gonna just grab my rectangle and draw another one out somewhere right about here. I'll make this a little bit of a gray. We probably don't need a border. We're gonna keep it nice and minimalistic. And then over in Nucleo, I have a little chevron icon I'm gonna drag into XD and pop it right about here. Whoops, make sure it's centered vertically. Everything lines up. Wonderful. I'm gonna make sure to group all this stuff. This will be sidebar. Perfect. Now, obviously, we're noticing that these buttons kind of extend off a little bit underneath that sidebar. So with all of them selected, responsive resize is turned on over here to the right. So I can just grab this stuff and then move it in, and everything moves really nicely into place. Perfect. Now we got our buttons looking good. We now need a few other things, right? So at the top here, we need the actual bill amount, and we need probably a button to split some of that stuff. So I'm gonna grab a rectangle and just draw out a box up here, because I do want to get a little bit fancy up here, just so a calculator is not super boring. I do want to bring in a background image. So back over in Finder, I'm gonna grab the same image I used yesterday, just to keep things consistent, pop that in there, and maybe just so this blue isn't too super distracting, I'll just, kind of shift it off. Move this up a little bit. Perfect. Now that we got a little bit of a cool background up at the top, we need some additional text. So I'm gonna grab my text tool right over here, and I'm gonna say, let's say bill amount. We'll make that white. And we'll do, let's semi-bold and make that a little bit larger. Make sure it's centered in my document, right about there. And then underneath, we actually need the actual bill amount. So let's say it's 142 point whatever, 59. We'll do dollars, whoops, that's an @ sign. We'll do a $sign. This one will be bold, and then we'll make this much larger so people can actually see what the bill amount is. Perfect. Now underneath, we need a split button. So to do that, I'm gonna grab my ellipse tool, draw one out right here, and this will essentially give people the ability to split their bill with others who might be in their party. And if you are kind of following this challenge, I would encourage you to definitely plan out and design what that split interaction will look like. I'm gonna kind of leave it vague right now, but I'm interested to see where y'all go with this. I'm gonna add a black background blur just because I have to add a background blur to everything. Someone's asking about hover. Hover is definitely in the works. The team is working hard on it. They want to make sure it's done really well, because it's not as easy as you might think, but it's definitely in the works. And then for the icon, I'm going to hop back over to Nucleo, and let's look up split. I've got this cool icon right here. Drag that in, pop it in place, and this will be that split icon. So when you press on that, something will happen. I'm going to leave it up to all of you. Perfect. I'm going to make sure to group all this stuff. Group, name this split. And if I am going to be using this throughout my document in other screens, I can hop over to my assets panel and press the plus button beside symbols. And that will allow me to just drag out additional instances of this split button to use throughout my project. And if I have to update it, I can just jump into any of them and make those changes. All right, so things are looking interesting. Oh, let me get rid of this one. Things are looking interesting, but we also want to kind of reveal some of those additional buttons on the side. So let me just kind of create those. For now, I'll just create them over here. Actually, you know what I could do? I can just grab some of these, copy them, make them a little bit narrower, because we probably don't need them super wide. And this one here is going to be the division sign. And this one might be multiply, so I'll just do an X. This one will be the minus. And this one is a little bit different, so I'm going to just duplicate. You know what? I'm going to duplicate this, drag it down, and this one will be plus. Perfect. Now we kind of want to differentiate this column over here from the rest. So I'm going to actually just grab all of these. I'm going to change the background color to one of these oranges up here. Or not oranges, that's a blue. One of these blues. Maybe I'll lighten it a little bit, but just to match the style of the application. And then we might want, these guys over here to be white so they don't blend too much in with the background. And you know what? Maybe we'll bold them a little bit. Just a touch. So right now we're at regular. We'll bump that up to maybe medium. That looks pretty good. And the minus, we'll just move up a touch. Perfect. Yeah, I could do the division sign as well. Howard's gone colorblind. I don't have the, actually, can I just copy it from your, let's see if I can do that. I can copy it from your comment. Does that work? Ooh, fancy. Thank you, L. Barbus. All right, I'm gonna make sure to group this stuff. And this will be the right pane. And this will essentially kind of fly out when this little thing is tapped on, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to group it with this as well. Group it with the sidebar. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put it inside of the sidebar. That would make sense, right? Look at all this stuff I have. I got to clean up my layers panel. Where's my sidebar? Oh, it's because I'm not on the artboard. There we go. Sidebar. Boop. Perfect. All right, so now that it's grouped, what I can do, I can just move it off the artboard a little bit. Perfect. All right, so now let's go ahead and animate this thing. Let me show you how you can animate an interaction like this when you click on something like the little sidebar. So I'm going to duplicate this artboard, but before I do that, this is bothering me a little bit. This should be some sort of blue. So I'm just going to grab my eyedropper tool. That looks better. Either that one or that. Whoops. Do we want to go for the light blue or that blue? Ooh, maybe that one. All right, let me know in the chat. Do you like this super neon blue or do you like this darker one? I'm gonna stick with this one for now, but I'm gonna duplicate this artboard over to the right. I need more boops. I do need more boops. There we go. Boop. There you go, Max. So now we want to design state number 2 when this sidebar kind of flies out. So I'm gonna just drag this over to the right, and then I want to make sure to select all of these elements and just collapse them in a little bit. Just like that. Now, of course, we're noticing that some of the things are a little bit wonky because we don't want fix width turned on. And it's not turned on. Let's see. Aha. Okay, I see. So let me select all these. Go to manual. Fix width is turned off now. And I can push these in. There we go. Beautiful. And I want to make sure to hop in here and do the exact same thing. Dark, dark blue, dark. Perfect. I had a good choice. Fix width. All right. And I might want to flip this chevron. So I'm going to click on that and just boop, flip it right up here. We do have flip vertical and flip horizontal buttons hiding in the top right. And now we have our panel that kind of slid out from the side. Now, if all goes well, the animation should work. So let me go ahead and hop into prototype mode right up here at the top. And essentially when someone clicks on this sidebar here, something is going to happen. So I'm going to make sure to select that sidebar, and this blue handle to the right, I'm going to drag it to the second artboard, which is our second state. And this will be a tap trigger. We don't want to worry about drag or voice. Maybe we'll do voice if we have a little bit of time. But I'm going to select Auto Animate. And if you're brand new to Adobe XD, essentially what Auto Animate does is when you select that option, it's going to look at the differences between those two artboards that are wired up, and it's going to animate the changes. So in this case, let me go ahead and we'll do a snap, and we'll do a fairly quick snap of 0.4 seconds. So in this case, XD is going to notice that on this artboard, this sidebar kind of came out, the chevron flipped around, and also these buttons kind of squished a little bit. And XD is going to do its best to animate that, and it should work pretty well if I'm thinking about this in my head properly. So with that done, I'm going to select the first artboard, press the play button at the top of my application, and if we press this, it slides out. And what we can do, we can hop back over here, grab this one, wire it back to the first artboard. It does maintain all those properties. So now if we press play, we can slide it out, we can slide it in, and we've got a pretty cool looking calculator. Because again, for this app in particular, the way I'm thinking about it, the division, the minus, the plus, and the whatever all these things are, they're not necessarily needed all the time, because if you are splitting your check, you're probably going to press that button at the top, and it's going to just do it for you. It'll select how many people are in your party and that sort of thing. But if you do need those manual controls and you actually want to do some math, I don't recommend it. You can, slide out that little sidebar at the side. Beautiful. All right, now speaking of voice, let me very quickly do this. So in an application like this, you may want to use voice triggers to actually navigate this thing. So let's go ahead and move these over here to the right, and make one more duplicate this way, right? I'm gonna go back into design mode, and this we're gonna start off with $0. And let's go ahead and find, do we have a voice icon here? If I'm working very quickly, there one here. I'm gonna grab this one here. I'm gonna do this very quickly. I'm gonna just put this up here, because we're running out of time. We've got some awesome UI and UX stuff coming up right after me. So I'm gonna make this, pop it over here. It's probably not what I would actually do, but I'm gonna just do it anyway. And let's go ahead and wire this up for voice. So I'm gonna hop into prototype mode one more time, select this icon here. And the cool thing about voice is you can wire up any icon and have a voice trigger on it, or any element really. Someone asked, where would I put the equals sign? That's a good question, Courtney. I'd probably put it in the sidebar somewhere. I'd probably have 5 going down instead of 4, but So I'm gonna wire that up. Instead of tap or drag, it's going to be voice, and this one is going to be 142. I believe this is going to work with the numbers. I'm not going to worry too much about the decimals. It's going to be auto animate and snap. And you probably don't need the auto animate in this case, because nothing's really going to be animating, but let's see what works. So I'm going to press the play button, and all you have to do now that the voice trigger is hooked up, I believe, yep. We're going to hold down the space bar and then speak whatever we want to say. 142. Come on, voice. Maybe my microphone. Oh, probably because my microphone is wired through my streaming application. 142. No, that's probably what's happening. It's not picking up my microphone, but I promise you, voice does work if your microphone is set up properly. But that will just about do it. Let's go through this one more time. And just to address kind of what Courtney was talking about, what I could do is actually add one more entry down here at the bottom. This will be equals. I can select all of these. Whoops. Select all of this stuff, and just because responsive resize is turned on, I can turn off fixed height on all of these. Turn off fixed height, there we go, and just move this inwards. Perfect. Alrighty, so that will just about do it. Definitely stick around for more UI and UX coming up right after me. Take part in the daily challenge, get creative with it. I'd love to see what you do with that split button right up here at the top. And I'm going to be back tomorrow morning at 11:30 with day number 7 of the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. Tweet this stuff at us, share it on Behance, share it on Discord, all that fun stuff. And until next time, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you soon.